Coming up on News Live at 6, Bird Library hosted a worldwide women's discussion.
Plus, we're live from the Q Ceasefire Coalition People's Forum, what the coalition is planning on saying.
And VO scooters are back on campus. Find out more about when they're rolling out. News Live at 6 starts right now.
This is CitrusTV News Live at 6, your campus news leader.
Celebrating women from around the world is at the top of mind for Bird Library. Good evening and welcome into News Live at 6. I'm Nicole Aponte.
And I'm Chilekasi, Adele. The event sponsored by the Department of Languages, Literatures, and Linguistics. CitrusTV's Cami Bremer joins us now. Cami, what did they talk about here?
Thanks, Chile. That's right. So the celebration was a roundtable discussion centered on women's experiences worldwide and featured a panel of 3 female campus employees. Let's take a closer look.
Welcome to the Women Around the World Roundtable.
Women Around the World, a celebration of women's experiences across languages and cultures, was a roundtable discussion hosted at Bird Library and sponsored by Syracuse University's Department of Languages, Literatures, and Linguistics. The discussion had a panel consisting of 3 Syracuse University female employees, all coming from different backgrounds, and honored women's experiences across multilingual and multicultural communities. I had the chance to talk with a few of the panelists, and here's what they had to say.
It's important that we come together, we build bridges and networks of support so that we can support each other's efforts, but also introduce people to other people or other ideas and connect them so that we can be really innovative and entrepreneurial in the ways in which we're thinking about society's issues. I'm very excited. It's always nice to be among other women who are doing great things, not only on campus, but in the community. The more we can uplift each other's efforts, I'm all for it. I'm in 100%.
Although women have made tremendous strides in education and employment across many institutions, we still have a long ways to go. I'm very excited. It's also an honor. It's a privilege to be on a panel with such distinguished, esteemed speakers.
Being it's Women's History Month, it was a pleasure to speak with the panelists and learn more. Shaleigh and Nicole, back to you.
Cami, thanks so much. New details now on the Student Association executive election. The presidential and executive vice presidential candidates are Herman Olivos and Reed Ranger. They joined the Student Association back in the fall of 2022. They are looking to bring diversity and add new perspectives to the Student Association.
Olivos is currently the Vice President for Community Engagement and Government Affairs, while Granger is Chief of Staff. They both believe student input is the only way for SA to serve the needs of students. You can tune into the Student Association executive debate right here on CitrusTV and OTN. Our Benjamin Schiller and Erica Love will be moderating next Wednesday at 7.
Looking forward to it. Well, some new COVID-19 guidelines tonight for the campus community. In an email, the university will be shifting their protocol to align with new guidance from the CDC. This means students are no longer required to isolate for 5 days when they do test positive. Instead, they're asked to only return to normal activities when they are 24 hours fever-free and their symptoms are improving.
Now, SU is also no longer requiring a positive COVID test to be reported to Barnes. Students are still encouraged to stay home if they're experiencing symptoms, get vaccinated, wear a mask if they're feeling sick, monitor for those COVID symptoms, and of course, practicing good hygiene, things like washing your hands. Now, architecture professor Valeria Herrera has filed a discrimination lawsuit against Syracuse University.
The lawsuit includes discrimination claims under the 14th Amendment, Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, the New York State Human Rights Law, and the Family and Medical Leave Act, alleging she was never included in any DEIA events and also says she worked in a hostile work environment. Let's take a closer look at that first, weather. If you can tell by my voice, this cold weather has really gotten to me.
You know, you were back on Long Island.
Yep.
I was in Nashville, then Syracuse for 2 days, then Washington, D.C., Nova for 3 days. All 60s and 70s, and then this week, you just turn a corner.
Oh, the 20 degrees today, I don't want this to continue.
It's embarrassing.
Oh, it is embarrassing for Syracuse. It's spring. What are we doing?
You would think, but they're lying to you.
Well, Luke Welch definitely knows more about the weather going on right now. Hey, Luke.
Hey, Nicole and Chile. You know, I was in Aruba over break and it was 85 degrees. I'm so wishing I was back at those temperatures right now. But if we take a look, we're sitting roughly around 30. That's where we've been all day. However, those 20-mile-per-hour winds we're experiencing are making it feel like 13 degrees. And that's honestly been pretty consistent throughout our region. We see low 30s, high 20s throughout, with a high down in Elmira at 34 and a low up in Rome at 27. However, we're going to experience that low, 27 degrees tonight, and those winds, they're going to die down a little bit. However, they're going to still make it feel pretty cold. Those clouds are going to go away, so if you're going out, you're definitely going to want to grab a jacket because it's going to be pretty cold and windy. I'll have more later in the show. Nicole, Chile, back to you.
Luke, I'll take it. Thanks so much. New details tonight. Next time you head to class, you may be able to skip the walk and pick up a VO scooter. It's something our Zach Richter loves doing a lot. Those scooters are back in Syracuse after a brief winter break, and Citrus TV's Caitlin Campbell tells us about the rollout.
As the spring season approaches, so does the return of VO scooters. After a brief break for the winter, VO Operations Manager Paul Calabufo shares what VO is all about.
VO is a scooter share program. If you download the app in the App Store, it's free. You will be able to see where every scooter in the city is, how much battery it has, what it costs. You can go to the nearest scooter and scan it. So usually we operate the whole year except January and February. We take those months that are low ridership months to repair our scooters, get them back in good shape for the next year.
And all students have to do to use one is find one on campus, scan the QR code with their phones, and you're ready to ride. Now, a sit-down scooter is 36 cents per minute, but one that's just a standalone one is 33 cents per minute. They're super easy to use, and it all works off of your phone. The VOs offer an alternative way to get around campus, especially when people are living on South. Sophomore Annie Huckabone shares her experience.
I've never used a VO scooter before, but I know that a bunch of my friends like to use them, especially when it gets warmer outside. There's a bunch around South Campus where I live, so we're able to just kind of get to class a little bit quicker when the buses are slow and there's no parking. So.
Students can join in on the VO fun with one of the 800 scooters already on campus. Caitlin Campbell, Citrus TV News.
Caitlin, thanks so much. A Syracuse landlord, Todd Hobbs, has reached a settlement with the Attorney General's office for lead violations in the paint, including 19 of his properties and 11 children poisoned in his rentals. Hobbs has agreed to pay $175,000 in the settlement, with $120,000 going towards fixing those 19 homes and $55,000 going to the restitution to the 11 lead paint victims. Hobbs will not be able to sell or rent his properties until all the violations are corrected.
To this now, Syracuse police investigating a case of fentanyl poisoning in an 11-month-old baby. The baby was revived by first responders with Narcan and rushed to the hospital. The city has been dealing with a fentanyl issue as multiple children have died of an overdose of the drug over the last year. In the press conference, Onondaga County District Attorney Bill Fitzpatrick said, quote, "This is something that we've never seen."
Coming up on News Live at 6, County Executive Ryan McMahon says the state of our country is strong. The county legislature representing SU reacts to that assessment. Next.
Jason, let's go see your room.
What do you think? We kept it a little spare, so you can decorate it how you like.
Dinner! Go?
Excellent. Soccer is fun. Yeah, I saw you guys out there. We're the family. Yeah! Oh, I thought you were on my team.
You're watching Citrus TV News live at 6 with Chilekasi Adele, Nicole Aponte, and Luke Welch. Now, your campus news leader continues.
Welcome back to Citrus TV News live at 6. A group of local organizations are working together to demand a ceasefire in Gaza.
The Q Ceasefire Coalition is hosting the People's Forum right now. That's where we find our Leah Cohen, who's there for us now. Leah, what is the coalition planning to discuss tonight?
Thanks, Chile. No, I'm outside the Northside Learning Center right now, where the People's Forum is taking place. The Q's Ceasefire Coalition organized this event, which is a group of 19 organizations that are local to the Syracuse area, and what they're demanding is a ceasefire in Gaza. This event specifically is to educate members of the Syracuse community about what's going on in the Middle East and what people, part of the coalition, believe should be happening now in Syracuse and in the Middle East. Now, I spoke with one of the organizers of the event, Jess Posner, who spoke to me about why it is important for Syracuse residents to care about an issue that is overseas.
Our event tonight is here at the Northside Learning Center to bring together not only those organizations, but also community members for co-learning together, to listen, to be together, and to also share a meal.
Hey, Leah, quick question for you here. Why was this coalition founded by these Syracuse organizations?
Thanks, Nicole. Now, the reason why the coalition sees it's so important to hold events like this and future events in Syracuse is because they want to pass a resolution to be passed at the Syracuse Common Council. Now, that's getting together the districts in Syracuse to care about what's going on in the Middle East, and they are educating people at the event so they can have more voices to be talking to people that are authoritative members at the Syracuse Common Council. Now, I was speaking to members of the coalition, and they told me that one of the main reasons they want Syracuse residents to care about this issue is because they care about where their tax dollars are going. And that is something where not a lot of people know about who are living in the area, and they want everyone to know about what they have in common with people who are across seas. Now, back to you, Nicole in Chile.
Thanks so much. Now to the latest. In the county where Democrats are responding to County Executive Ryan McMahon's big speech from last Thursday night.
Yeah, our Luke Radel sat down with Democratic County Legislator Maurice Brown in studio earlier today.
1 week ago tonight, Onondaga County Executive Ryan McMahon delivered his State of the County address. And spoiler alert, the Republican incumbent reports that the state of our county is strong. Here with his reaction to that assessment and to the speech as a whole is somebody who was in the room on that big night, Onondaga County Legislator Maurice Brown. He's a Democrat who represents the 15th District, which includes the university community. Mo, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Alrighty, I want to begin by getting your reaction to a clip from the big night. He
Okay.
actually references you in this clip, a little shout out for you, right at the top of his State of the County address. So we're going to roll that for you now.
I just want to take a moment and welcome our newest members of the county legislature, Maurice Brown. Maurice, no live tweeting today.
No promises.
No promises on that one. You've developed a reputation that precedes you, Mo.
Yeah.
At first, I'd ask you, what was your take on that shout out and also on the speech as a whole?
On that shout out, I appreciated it. I do appreciate that he shouted out the new legislators. I do have a knack for live tweeting, so that's kind of my thing. I'm a real-time legislator, but overall, mixed bag with the speech. I would be lying if I said that I disagreed with everything he said, but there's some things he embellished and some things that I flat out disagree with. But overall, it was more bad than good, and I appreciate the direction our county's going generally.
Yeah. I want to ask about the issue of housing. You just recently held a town hall.
Yes.
On that point, he talked about housing in the speech. At one
Yes.
point, he said, while others can pontificate about housing, we have to govern.
Yes.
What do you think he was referencing there, and how would you assess his governing strategy so far on the issue of housing?
I actually don't know what he said. When he said it in real time, I was confused. I was like I wonder who he's referring to, but his housing strategy, in my assessment thus far, has been too small.
And you saw that graphic that hung up there a little bit. Luke's full interview with Legislator Brown will be up on our YouTube channel later tonight. To other news now, the New York State Education Department and New York State United Teachers pushing legislation calling for teachers to no longer be evaluated off test scores.
The groups claim it is a, quote, flawed practice used to intimidate teachers. The bill was delivered to Senator Shelley Mayer and Assemblyman Michael Benedetto. Benedetto is a former teacher and chairman of the New York State Assembly Education Committee.
Consumers should not have to pay higher prices because companies break the law.
To Washington now, where the Department of Justice is bringing an antitrust lawsuit against Apple. The DOJ is accusing the big tech company of having an illegal monopoly that was boxing out competitors and reducing innovation.
This comes amid the Biden administration's calling on the DOJ and the Federal Trade Commission to enforce antitrust statutes. The lawsuit comes after years of investigating Apple's business practices and 2 prior suits by the DOJ. Now, to a story everyone's talking about, the Los Angeles Dodgers have fired the interpreter of Japanese star Shohei Ohtani. Ippei Mizuhara is accused of illegal gambling and theft by Ohtani. It all surrounds millions of dollars in wire transfers sent from Ohtani's bank account to an illegal bookmaking operation. That's now under federal investigation.
Well, the Dodgers let the 39-year-old go yesterday after reports from the LA Times and ESPN. This all comes as Ohtani is making his Dodgers regular season debut in South Korea. Keep in mind that sports gambling is still illegal in California, where Ohtani has played since 2017. MLB rules also ban players and team employees from sports betting. House Speaker Mike Johnson is inviting Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to address Congress. While doing so, Johnson also went after Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer over his recent criticisms of the Prime Minister's handling of the war in Gaza.
Now, Schumer recently called for Israel to hold an election to oust Netanyahu, but he said he'd welcome him to speak. Johnson has also been asked to speak at Israeli Parliament. Over to Luke and what's coming up in the weather.
And we're not talking about basketball, SU's most accurate weather forecast after the break.
Women are bad with money.
That's what the world's been saying for centuries.
But now, we've got something to say. Save it.
Save the old-fashioned advice, the empty excuses.
It's all worthless, unlike us.
To our fellow females, it is time to save ourselves by saving our money.
Contributing to our futures, investing in our independence.
Until we're no longer 80%
more likely than men to live in poverty in retirement.
So again, we say to that,
Save it. The falsehoods, the feelings of fault. Then the funds.
learn how to save for your retirement at wesaysaveit.org.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
From the CitrusTV Weather Center, this is SU's most accurate weather forecast.
6:18. Now let's get another check of the weather with our weather anchor, Luke Welch. Luke, it's 20 degrees. Is this a normal temperature for you, like this usual time of March? It's spring.
Well, you know what? I wasn't too happy with the weather today, so I decided to take a look back. And if we take a look on our screen right now, we can see some temperature history of March. If we take it up on your screen there, we see in the past, you know, we've had some milder weather, some colder weather. If we get it up on our screen there we go. We see an average high and low of 43 and 25 degrees, an average snow of 20 inches. We're actually not even close to that right now in 2012, which I'm honestly not complaining about. You know what? I don't want to see those warming temperatures. I'm wishing we were at that highest high of 87 degrees right now where I was a week ago.
Could we just invert last week's weather and this week's weather?
Yeah. I know.
We were gone last week. Just leave it out.
I know. And something that I'm also a little bit jealous of is the history of March Madness weather here in Syracuse. You know, we see in 2021, it was 61 degrees the day that March Madness started.
Beautiful.
I'm so jealous. You know what? 2022, just the same, 64. 2023, that's where we started in this downward trend, where we get to today at 30 degrees being our high. But let's take a look into that full 5-day forecast as you're seeing. We see Friday, it's going to be some snow showers tomorrow with a high of 34, and that's not really going to change on Saturday. We're going to see that rain, that snow, until we see that somewhat light at the end of the tunnel on Sunday and Monday, where we see those milder temperatures getting up into those high 40s, low 50s, and staying around there on Tuesday. Now, I know this weather doesn't have me too happy. I'm kind of upset, but I heard that there was another big upset in sports. Skylar Wilkes.
Yeah, Luke, you could say that again. It definitely was an upset. Syracuse men's lacrosse made a statement to begin ACC play. Meanwhile, you mentioned it, it's March Madness time, and SU women's basketball is 2 days away from a showdown in the NCAA tournament. From the turf to the court, we have it all, so don't go anywhere.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
After 2 close losses a year ago, number 6 Syracuse men's lacrosse aimed to exact revenge on number 4 Duke, but facing the nation's top scoring offense, it wouldn't be that easy for the Orange. Welcome into sports, I'm Skylar Wilkes. The 'Cuse came into the contest on a 3-game win streak, which included its first top 5 victory of the Gary Gate era. On the flip side, the Blue Devils had won 4 in a row and boasted the reigning Toronto Award winner in Brendan O'Neill. Syracuse had already battled 4 ranked opponents, so let's see how matchup number 5 went down. Syracuse coming in of a big win over Delaware on the road in Virginia, and Duke actually started off on the right foot up 1-0, but Owen Hiltz saying enough of that, made it 3-1, and we're not done with him yet. Just wait and see. Brendan O'Neill, he's pretty good. Right on the doorstep, gets saved by Will Mark, and there was a whole lot of that today for Syracuse. Mark made 14 saves, piling on from his 17 against Delaware on Saturday. The grad student is now 4th in the country for the most saves, so he was playing well. The offense was too. Owen Hiltz finished with a hat trick, and he scored 9 goals in his last 2 games. Mason Cohn getting in on the fun too, not just a Fogo, scores his 5th goal of the season to make it 6-2. The Orange offense really clicking. Jackson Birtwistle joining the party as well. His 2nd goal of the game, which was 2nd on the team. That made it 7-2. Brendan O'Neill, we mentioned, he's a really good player. He had a rough game, 1 goal, 1 assist, but that made it 10-4, which ended up being the final. Syracuse holds on to win. The Orange have now allowed just 10 goals in their last 2 games, and after back-to-back stellar performances, it's time to give defensive coordinator John O'Dearna his flowers.
His philosophy is that, you know, it's the team's defense. And you're going to make mistakes, but if you know, 6 guys can make a mistake, but if they all make the same mistake, they can get a stop. If they all support it no matter what.
The 'Cuse now has the 6th best scoring defense in the country. It was also the 3rd fewest goals that Syracuse gave up in a conference game in program history. On the offensive side, I mentioned Owen Hiltz, but fellow Canadian Jake Stevens deserves some credit too. The midfielder didn't score, but had a career-high 3 assists, and overall, the Orange had 7 different players find the back of the net. That distribution helped SU beat its second top-5 opponent in as many weeks. Now, moving over to the hardwood, Syracuse women's basketball is en route to Connecticut ahead of its NCAA tournament matchup on Saturday. The Orange are back in the big dance. For the first time since 2021, FLJ squad is a 6 seed but doesn't know who it's playing yet because 11 seeds Auburn and Arizona still have to duel tonight. And SU has faced the 2 teams a combined 6 times in history. Between the Orange and Tigers, they most recently squared off nearly 2 decades ago back at Manley Fieldhouse before the Dome. If Syracuse wins on Saturday, it would battle the winner of UConn and Jackson State. The Cuse has won at least 1 game in 6 of its last 7 tournament appearances. Guys?
Skylar, thanks so much. We have one last look at your weather after the break.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high-five.
Jordan knows he shouldn't eat this entire bowl of nachos, but tonight he's earned that right. Because a few hours ago in the middle of happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome back to News Live at 6. Well, when you wake up tomorrow, it's kind of going to be kind of similar today. We're going to see that sun, we're going to see those clouds, but we're going to see that snow. And as we see, the temperatures are going to rise throughout the day. However, that sun, it's not going to stay with us this weekend, unfortunately. But you know what? It's going to be a great day to sit down and watch some March Madness, guys.
Oh, yeah. And not have to deal with the cold weather. Guys, the whole theme, yeah. First day of
He's
March.
been singing it all day.
The television's in the newsroom. It's abundantly clear what time of the year it is. So, here at the desk, we've got brackets. What do we got? Skylar, who's your champion?
I'm going bold here with Iowa State, a 2 seed, but the Cyclones taking over the country here.
I have UConn and Houston. I don't know if we can get a camera that comes up here. I guess we'll do it here. I think UConn is the best team in the country. I don't think that's a doubt at all. You've got Villanova that didn't make it. That was my first love. Syracuse didn't make it. That's my second love. I think UConn.
Duquesne's still alive, though, Chile.
Duquesne is still alive. My dad's alma mater, Duquesne, is still alive. UConn facing Houston in the Natty in Phoenix, Arizona, and I've got UConn. Nicole?
Okay, so I think Luke and I are a little bit behind.
Same page.
Yeah, I have Baylor winning. I don't really know where does that, because you don't even have Baylor winning the first
I don't
game.
have them beating Clemson.
Ooh.
I don't know much about basketball, but I know
What
the
about you?
bandwagon,
It's not a ridiculous
so
take, though. I mean, I have them
picked
losing
UConn.
early, but...
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah, I think it's a respectable take.
Who's winning on your...
I don't know how to do basketball, but I know how to bandwagon, so I'll go with Troy. I got UConn.
Okay, and who's your final matchup here?
Creighton.
Ooh, okay.
Don't even know where they're from.
Omaha, Nebraska. No, Creighton's a good choice, I feel
it
like.
makes you sound like you know ball.
Oh, yeah, mine does not look like I know ball at all. Like, it's just not. But my roommate is very into her March Madness bracket, and she's been pressuring me to make my own, but I don't know much about anything when it comes to March Madness, so it just wasn't in the cards for me.
That's okay. We'll teach you. Hey, Skylar, what does your national championship game look like? You said you have Iowa State.
With Luke, I have Creighton.
You've got Creighton going far.
Would you look at that?
Look at that.
You know ball?
What can I say?
Well, sadly, we can talk about this forever.
Yeah,
Truly,
definitely.
our March Madness brackets.
goodness.
That's CitrusTV News live at 6 for this Thursday.
Hey, don't forget you can follow us on X and Instagram at CitrusTV News. Now for the entire CitrusTV News team and its ball knowers, Chilekasi, Adele.
I'm Nicole Aponte. See you tomorrow.